Hi, it's Drew here, and I'm joined by Terry Edwards, who is going to be sharing with us today how to turn your LinkedIn connections and your LinkedIn network into clients. Terry, before we get into the training, I know in today's video you're going to be talking about sort of 7 big mistakes that you see recruitment and search firm owners make with their LinkedIn account. Before we get into that, why LinkedIn? Why have you decided to put this training on in the first place?
I guess there's 2 main reasons, Drew. I'm going back many years ago when I first entered the world of recruitment or executive searches, as I did then, 20 plus years ago. We just dabbled in LinkedIn. We didn't pay them a great deal of attention. I think I've shared the story before. When I set up my own business, I really struggled to generate leads, etc. And when we got the breakthrough, when we understood LinkedIn, it was quite a breakthrough for us. And over the last 20 plus years or so, talking to recruitment and search firms from all over the world, it kind of, I suppose, surprised me sometimes that you talk to recruitment search firm owners and they're not using LinkedIn. And it's not your fault if you've never been shown some of the things you can do with LinkedIn. So really, it's just to really help you and give you some things that you can do that will help generate some business and increase your personal earnings.
Brilliant, thank you. And just to add to that, when you say sort of not using LinkedIn, what you mean is not using it to win clients. So again, what we find is most recruitment and search firm owners are on LinkedIn, have a LinkedIn presence as such, but when you talk about the return they're getting from that activity, they either don't know what it is or it's zero. And there's been a lot of hours on there. That's not just the owner, the consultants as well.
Yeah.
But their return, they haven't really got a process, they haven't really got a system in place. So every now and then they might get lucky and win business from it, like the lucky ones. But for most, it's just nothing. It's just
that's right. And they tend to use it more so for finding candidates than getting business. And what we're going to share with you is really how to find business, how to find those clients that want to buy from you more than you actually want to sell to them. This is what this is all about. Yeah. So
Terry, just go back a step. You mentioned that when you first set up your own business, that you really struggled, and LinkedIn is one of the things that helped you turn things around. But what were some of the challenges that you were having that LinkedIn solved? What were some of the sort of as I said, the challenges that you were having that when you got the hang of LinkedIn, you started using it to attract clients? What did it help you solve?
I suppose, show my age here, but going back 20 odd years ago, when you wanted to get recruitment or search business, what we had to do is we had to pick up the phone and call a complete stranger and say, look, you don't know me and I don't know you.
It's still going on now.
Yeah, in fairness, yeah. But can we have some business? And as you know, and as you're watching this, you're aware that your buyers now are a lot more sophisticated, and I'm yet to meet a hiring manager that says, yeah, I really enjoy getting a cold call from a recruiter. And we had the same problems 20 plus years ago, and what we found was actually calling a complete stranger and literally begging for business wasn't a particularly effective use of our time. And once we got the hang of LinkedIn, we could then call people and I'd go, hi, it's Terry here, and the response was, Terry, hi. Rather, previously it was Terry who. Well, I stopped making those cold calls. I was now calling people that knew who I am, and that's one of the things that we're going to share with you on LinkedIn. So you're going to call people who know who you are, know what you do, and I think equally important, know what you stand for as well.
Awesome. So it helped you go from a stranger or unknown to your ideal prospects to being known. Is that something that you go?
Absolutely, yes. And I know it's like I said many a time. Stop being a pest to your potential clients and become a welcome guest. So when you call them, they're actually welcoming your call and they know exactly who you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I want to get into some of the mistakes because I know people watching this video want to know how to get clients from LinkedIn, but you wanted to start with what people are doing wrong.
That's right.
You've got more videos to come. But so mistake number 1 here, you've got as actually not having a LinkedIn account or a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. So yeah, no account. As you know, Drew, I get regular emails, telephone calls, and occasional letters from recruitment to search firm owners, all wanting help and advice. And I don't know, most of the time I just can't take them because I get so many. But if I do get on the phone with an owner or director of a recruitment to search firm owner, I'm actually left speechless when we talk about some of their routes to market, and I talk about some of the things they can do on LinkedIn, and they say, well, I don't use LinkedIn, or I've got an account, but I don't actually use it at all, which kind of leaves me speechless. And there's a number of reasons. One of the reasons is, I don't know if you know this, but there's something like 467 million users on LinkedIn. Let me repeat that: 467 users on LinkedIn,
and that's growing all the time.
And that's growing all the time. Now, I'm not saying that you can work with all that entire population, but I think it's fair to say that you only need to work with a fraction of that population to make it worthwhile to you. So, mistake number one is just not having an account of any kind, or having an account and not using, which I think is as bad as actually having an account in it of itself.
Okay, so I mean that sort of links with break number two is having an account and not using it. So we won't spend too long on that because again they're pretty much the same thing. So just not using it. Yeah. So I mean, but what you're saying is the facts are, if you're a recruitment and search firm owner, your ideal clients are on LinkedIn right now. So if you're not there, or you're there but you're not present, you're not using it, then you're missing out on lost revenue and profits.
Yeah, thousands. I literally, you lost thousands in lost business by those two mistakes alone. And the good news is it's really simple to do. Now, I want to be clear on this. So, look, we're big fans of LinkedIn. A lot of recruiters are big fans of using it. We're not saying it's a be-all and end-all. What we're saying is it's just one platform that you should be using that's going to get your business.
Yeah.
We've got clients that you know, Drew, that they only use LinkedIn for getting their business, and that's fine. But it's not the be-all and end-all. But a lot of your potential clients are on LinkedIn.
Okay. So again, I want to move on to mistake number 3, and you've got that as treating your profile like a CV or resume.
Yeah. Literally every single recruitment or search firm owner will treat their LinkedIn profile as a CV, as we say in the UK, or resume, as you say in the States. Look, here's the thing: if you're reaching out to a potential client or a potential candidate, they honestly don't care about where you worked previously. Now, I get that LinkedIn, they kind of force you to lay out your profile as a CV stroke resume, but from your potential client's point of view or your potential candidate's point of view, they honestly don't care where you worked previously. And most of them don't care about your academic qualifications either. Let's be absolutely clear about that. When somebody's looking at your profile, it's one of two things. They want something from you, so they're only interested in themselves, or they're doing some research on you about whether to take a conversation further that you may have reached out to somewhere else. But kind of like your career history and where you worked 20 years ago makes no difference than whatsoever. And we're going to share with you exactly what you should be putting in your profile instead. We'll come to a bit later on.
Yeah, and again, Terry, you're 100% right. I mean, again, anyone that's sort of got a LinkedIn account or been on LinkedIn, you're right, LinkedIn almost forces you to set up your profile like a CV or resume, exactly how you would. In fact, some people use their LinkedIn profile as their CV.
That's right, yeah.
They export it. And again, I think when LinkedIn first came about, it was built to help people find jobs, which is why a lot of recruiters use it, as you said, to find candidates. It was built for that purpose. But if you want to use it to grow your business, if you want to use it to attract clients, you need to be thinking about things differently and not treating it as a CV or resume, and instead treating it as a marketing tool. And the process in terms of what you put, what you write, what you say and don't say is completely different. And Terry, I see it all the time as well. A lot of recruitment and search firms don't do this. So you look at their CV, you look at their profile, and they're almost selling themselves to an employer.
Yeah.
They're almost selling themselves to an employer as if they're looking for a job, but they're not. They're looking for clients. So yeah, you seem to transform the way that you did it, and I understand that you're going to be sharing that in the videos to come, and also your LinkedIn Lead Rush program that you'll release later as well.
Later on. And just to think about this, look, if you're a candidate, sure, you're gonna do that because you want headhunters and you want other potential people to see you as a candidate. But this whole video is for recruitment and search firm owners who want to generate more leads, they want to make more placements and increase their personal earnings. And not doing these things, as I said before, will cost you thousands in lost business. And I think it's worth emphasising as well. We're going to share with you, you're going to get access to what the most successful recruitment and search firms are doing right now. And you can do exactly the same and generate the kind of income these guys are generating as well.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to move on to mistake number 4. You've got here is trying to sell too quickly.
Yeah.
So trying to sell too quickly.
But too soon, yeah?
Yeah.
This is a classic. Only this morning, I got a message from somebody. I connected with her yesterday, and she sent me a message this morning, something along the lines of, "Hey, thanks for connecting. we're an executive search firm, we operate in this area. I want to tell you more about me. She then said this kind of left me speechless. I'm available to have a conversation either Saturday or Sunday. And it's like, are you kidding me? First of all, I have no interest in engaging a search firm to use on a personal level. The chances of me calling somebody to talk business on a Saturday, Sunday is slim to non-existent. But I think the key one is actually going for the sell, literally from a connection that we made 24 hours earlier. Look, there are 4 fundamental reasons why a client will not buy from you. They don't have a need, don't know you, like you, or trust you. If you honestly think from connection that you can get business, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a big ask. The client's got to get to know you, they've got to get to like you and trust you, and you've got to position yourself as the authority in that particular niche, or niche, I think it's the correct term, niche that the Americans say. For many recruiters, they say, hey, we're a great recruiter, go to our website. I promise you, your clients have no interest in you whatsoever when they've done that. All they're interested in, and bear this in mind, they're only interested in themselves, and there's a technique that you can use that we'll share with you a bit later on. So you position it so you're showing interest in them, and you're offering to help them without trying to sell to them. You're going to give them something that just starts the relationship without the, hey, we connected yesterday, can you buy from me today? No, please stop doing that. That's just going to piss people off, quite frankly. Yeah,
and to me, doing it this way is quite similar to cold calling, because we often like to use in the marketing world, like to use the dating analogy. So I sort of thought, would you do it on the first date? And again, if you go on enough first dates, you ask enough people, some people are going to say yes, but the vast majority of people are going to say no. And the same when you're trying to sell to people. On top of that, I think in the way the economy is now, the way the industry is now, people don't trust salespeople. People don't trust, and this isn't just exclusive to recruitment and search firms. I think in general, we're very distrusting of salespeople for various reasons that we won't go into in this video. And I think often when you do that, even if they might have been interested down the line, you repel them straight away. You repel someone who could have been a future buyer straight away. And again, think about times where you've walked into a car showroom or a shop, or you've been cold calling and someone's tried to sell to you straight away without really building that relationship with you first. That's what you're doing here as well. And again, not just recruiters, but I see everyone doing that. If I look in my LinkedIn inbox, it's filled with people doing just that, and I don't get back to any of them.
Yeah.
And I bet they get some people get back to them, but the vast majority of people, vast majority of the time, they're going to get ignored.
That's right. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Awesome. So again, you got number 1, having no account. Number 2, not using your account if you do have one. Number 3, setting up your profile like a CV or resume. Number 4, selling too soon. Number 5, you've got not utilising the LinkedIn groups.
Yeah. There are, in fact, definitely number how many LinkedIn groups there are on LinkedIn. But while you're thinking about that, if you know, I've kind of put you on the spot there.
I don't know how many groups.
Right. So not. As a user of LinkedIn, as a member of LinkedIn, you are allowed to join 100 groups on LinkedIn, and that changed quite recently, last year, 18 months, maybe 2 years ago. Previously it was 50. And again, most recruitment and search firm owners aren't aware of this, and if they are members of groups, they tend to join groups. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way, but you might be a keen cyclist or a keen swimmer or whatever it is, and you tend to join groups of personal interest to you, and that's understandable, that you do that. But here's the thing. With nearly 2 million groups on LinkedIn. You must be joining groups on LinkedIn where your clients and candidates are members. I'm going to repeat this, and you'll probably hear me say this a million times. Your clients won't engage you if they don't know you, if they don't like you, they don't trust you, and have a need. And the whole thing with LinkedIn and with most platforms, this is just one social media platform, is to get your clients to know you, like you, and trust you, and to see you as an expert. And you can use the groups to do just that. But so many recruitment and search firm owners are not doing it. I say so many, probably 90%. The real top billers though, some of the things that we've discovered the top billers are doing, they know how to use the groups to get more business. They know how to use the group to get into conversations with decision makers, which is all about. What I found is that for most recruitment and search firm owners, if they can just have the conversation with a decision maker, they're in with a shout to get in the business. But that's the biggest challenge, actually being able to get that conversation. And by joining groups, and again we're going to show you a bit later on some things you can do in the groups, you can start to have those conversations with decision makers.
Yeah, and again, it makes perfect sense, and I see firsthand a lot of what you're talking about in that. So you mentioned that people often join groups with their own personal interests. What I see happening is you'll see recruitment and search firm owners joining groups that are aimed at recruitment and search firm owners. So they end up networking with their peers and their competitors, which again, there's nothing wrong with, but if you want to profit from LinkedIn, I mean, you think about LinkedIn, it's a social media platform. We call it social networking, and the way I like to view LinkedIn and really all these social media sites is it's like an online networking event where there's literally millions, thousands of your ideal prospects, and they're all over LinkedIn. But then you've got within this big networking event, you've got smaller breakout rooms where it's more targeted, and in fact only your ideal clients are in this room. And joining groups that are aimed at recruiters or aimed at sort of cyclists is like going into the room where other recruiters are, but really you want to be in the room where all your ideal clients are. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Join groups that are aimed at your ideal clients, and again, most people are in groups, and most people I see who are actually using LinkedIn are in groups, but how many are you in? Are you in, there you said you can join up to 100, so are you in 100 groups? On top of that, you can create your own group as well and build your own community. So again, these are things that you want to be doing with your LinkedIn profile if you want to use it to win clients, if you want to use it to increase your business revenue and profit.
Yeah, you've made a really good point there. I forgot to mention, thanks for mentioning that setting up your own groups. We used to work with a search firm in Texas, a software search firm, and clients used to say to her, why would we engage you as a search firm when there's so many other search firms doing a very similar thing? And the response used to be, because we have one of the largest groups on LinkedIn. Straight away it positions her as the expert in that particular group. And there's some, I won't go into it now, but some things you can do once you own your own group. And again, it helps position you as the authority. It helps position you as the expert in your particular niche. And admittedly, look, there's some groups on LinkedIn, like there might be, let's say you're an IT recruiter and you want to join a group for CIOs. Some of those groups you won't be able to join, but that's okay. As I said, there are 2 million groups out there. There's a lot of groups out there that you can join and you must and should be joining. And they're the ones, and as Drew said then, setting up groups for your potential clients. You should have another group for your potential candidates. Again, some of the smart recruiters, what they're doing, especially if you work in the interim or contract, they've got groups on LinkedIn where all their potential candidates are. And every time they get an opportunity, they're simply posting the jobs on LinkedIn. Why wouldn't you? There's no cost, there's no risk. But so many recruiters aren't doing that. And again, it's costing them thousands in lost business. But we're going to cover that in a lot more detail a bit later on.
Okay, again, just to go through, he's got 1, no LinkedIn account, 2, not using it, 3, having it laid out like a CV or resume. Mistake number 4 is selling too soon. Mistake number 5, it's covered, is not using LinkedIn groups. So we're talking about joining enough groups that are aimed at your target audience and creating your own. And then number 6, you've got keeping the prospect's contact data on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So I call it prospect
data. Yeah.
We've had personal experience of recruitment and search firm owners, and they use the platform of LinkedIn as their CRM, as their database. So all their clients and their candidates are on the LinkedIn platform. Here's the problem with that, and what these guys have encountered. If you piss off LinkedIn and they close your account down, or they change something, it's almost like building land on quicksand. It's almost like building land building the property. My apologies, on building property on land that you don't actually own. So you've got all the data, but somebody else has actually got control of that. Whatever you do, And by the way, one of the things, once you connect, when you're first connection with somebody, you get access to their data. So you get access to their name, maybe their email address, maybe their mobile number. Whatever you do, you should be transferring that information onto some sort of system that you've got control of. We know literally hundreds of people have been kicked off LinkedIn for a number of reasons. And okay, it may only be for 48 hours, it may be for a week or whatever. But if that happens to you and you haven't got that data elsewhere, you're responsible for that. And also, I think it's also important for those people, if you've got consultants working for you as well, and you're letting them keep that data on LinkedIn. Of course, that consultant leaves you and go and join something else. They're taking all that information with you. You've lost complete control over it. I can't emphasise that enough.
So number 6 is leaving the data on LinkedIn, and basically, I read your book, Recruiter's LinkedIn Lead Rush, and one thing you talked about in there was like your key goal with all the activity you do on LinkedIn is to get people off LinkedIn and onto a platform that you can control.
That's right, yeah.
So get them off LinkedIn and onto your own email list, onto your own database, so you can market to them. You can do whatever you want with them, obviously within the rules of the law. But you control how you communicate with them, rather than on LinkedIn, where they could shut your account down, they could change the rules. So at the moment, as we record this, you can message your contacts, but they could change that at any moment.
That's right.
I mean, there's rumours of, I had a few times, I don't know if it's true or not, but LinkedIn potentially moving into the recruitment space itself. So it's almost like you're giving your data control to one of your future competitors, maybe. So again, I don't know if that's true, but either way, like everything you do on LinkedIn, your key activity should be to get them off LinkedIn and onto a platform that you control, which you do with effective marketing. Again, I know you talk about more in your LinkedIn Leaders program, but that's basically the key goal for all of this, is to get them off LinkedIn and onto a platform that you control.
Yeah. So
again, mistake number 7 you've got here is not using published post.
Yeah. Again, sometimes I talk to recruitment and search members, and I talk about how often do you publish posts. So you talk to the social media marketing person with the organisation, and we talk about this. And again, I'm surprised that so many people don't know anything about it. In a nutshell, what published posts is, I keep getting back to this, but if you want to position yourself as the authority, as the expert, you need to be telling people that you're the authority expert. If you don't, they're not going to know. It's as simple as that. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can publish a post on LinkedIn so that all your connections will get that post, but what it is that you'll talk about. So I use the term IT recruiter. So you might want to publish something about some of the challenges that CIOs are facing right now in attracting top performing IT professionals. Now, all your connections that you should be connected to on a regular basis then get that. But not only do those people get it, but other people on LinkedIn can also get access to that as well. And we'll go into a bit later, there's something that you can do on your published post, so you actually generate leads every time you publish a post. And something we would strongly recommend is that you're constantly looking to get to be generating leads from a published post. Does that make sense to you? Is there anything you want to?
Yeah, so a published post is kind of like a blog within your LinkedIn profile, within LinkedIn platform. And every time you post a post, or for want of a better word, all of your connections get notified, and it's like send them an email almost. So it's a good way to help, as you said earlier, Terry. People won't buy from you if they haven't even known you and trust you. It's a good way to get known, liked, and build that trust by demonstrating why you're an expert in a particular area. Again, if you're familiar with blogging, it's a similar thing. It's just within the LinkedIn platform, but it's a relatively new feature compared to all the others. It's been around for a while now, but relatively new. And yeah, again, something that people don't do that often. I know you do it daily, and every day you get leads from doing that activity. So again, it's there for you to use. You should be using it. Yeah. So again, we've gone through 7 mistakes. We've got no account. Number 2, not using your LinkedIn account effectively. Number 3, setting it up as a CV or resume. Number 4, selling too soon. Number 5, not using the LinkedIn groups. Number 6, leaving your prospect data on LinkedIn and not getting it onto a platform you control. Number 7, you've got not using published posts. And so you've got the 8th hidden mistake here, which sort of rounds all these together, and it's not getting your consultants to do the same. So what we mean by that is that, like, it's one thing you as the owner not doing all this. What you should have, if you have a team of consultants, they should all be doing these things as well. And again, if there's one of you in the business, again, you get good results with one of you doing it. If there's two of you in the business, it effectively doubles your results. And again, the more people you have, the bigger your reach with LinkedIn, right. The more profits you can make.
I mean, here's an example of what Drew means by that. We talked about not using groups, and we talked about the fact that you use a user of LinkedIn allowed to join 100 groups. Well, if you've got 5 people in your business, and each of you join 100 groups, as a business, you're now in 500 groups.
And by the way, some of these groups have thousands of members as well.
Hundreds of thousands in some cases, yeah.
So it's thousands of your ideal prospects or candidates in these groups.
Yeah, and see, a lot of the stuff, look, it will take time to do this, but this is what we call some organic ways that you can generate leads. Real low cost, but pretty much high return. And the other thing I want to add to what you said, Drew, one of the other things we see around a number of X about consistency. There's the business owner, and then you've got the consultants, and you read their profiles, and they're all different profiles, and in some cases they're contradictory. Think about what that means to the candidates of the client, where they read the owner's profile on LinkedIn, and it's blah blah blah, and and then they read the consultant, and it's like,
yeah. And I think as well, like a lot of owners, they ignore, or they don't necessarily ignore it, they don't give it much thought as to what their consultant's putting in on LinkedIn, because they see it as, well, it's the consultant's LinkedIn account. They don't even check if they've updated it since changing job roles.
I was just about to come to that.
And it's like, although it does belong to consultant ultimately, but LinkedIn's different to any other social media platform in that Facebook, it doesn't really matter what's going on in their profiles, doesn't really affect your business, but LinkedIn, people see that as they are representing your business. That if they are on LinkedIn and they work for you, they're representing your business. So everything that they say on their profile, you should really be having an influence on and making sure they're doing it in the best possible way to get you the best results. It's going to help them as well. It's going to help them make more placements, but ultimately it's your business and you're the one that profits from it.
Yeah, and you've made a really good point there. The amount of times I'm talking to, this is the owner and the director of a business, and once your first connection, you get access to their details, their contact details rather, and you look at their contact details, and the email address they're using is the email address of the previous organisation they work for.
So that means any of your clients are trying to reach them, they're going to reach them at the old email.
They're a good call. It's just, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. And then you've got consultants doing it at the same time. It's really confusing. But here's the thing, most of your potential clients go, to hell with that, it doesn't make sense here, and they just won't bother. They won't even give you the benefit of the doubt and reach out to you and say, hey look, do you realise what's going on here? They won't even give you that benefit. Bang, you've just lost them, and they're probably never going to come back to you again. And it can all be avoided. It's so easy to do.
Awesome, brilliant. Again, thanks for that, Terry. So again, just to recap on the mistakes.
So mistake number 1, not actually having an account. If you've got an account, number 2 is then not using it. LinkedIn is literally a gold mine. I know some of you listening to this have read my books on this subject. Number 3 is using your LinkedIn, setting up your profile as a CV or as a resume and telling people where you worked previously and so on. Honestly, I promise you, your potential clients or candidates don't care where you worked previously. If you are using it and you connect with somebody and say, hey, I'm a great recruiter, I'm a great search firm, I really care about you, can we do some business? Just after the connection, it's doing it, as Drew said, sometimes you can get looking and on the first date, but we recommend that you don't do it on the first date. And by the way, I'm talking about getting married on the first date. Number 5, not using groups on LinkedIn. There are 2 million groups on LinkedIn. As an owner as a user of LinkedIn, you're allowed to join 100 groups, and each of your employees are allowed to join 100 groups. Think what that would mean to your business if you just join 100 groups each. Number 6, keeping the data, the prospects' data on LinkedIn, where you've got no control over it whatsoever. LinkedIn can kick you off LinkedIn tomorrow. If you keep all your data on there and then else, you've got problems. So you should put that somewhere where you control it. And number 7, publish posts. And this is where you publish a blog, giving value, position yourself as the authority. Everybody that you're connected to on LinkedIn will see that. If you're connecting on LinkedIn, you know that I do this on a daily basis. Think what that would mean to you if you're only doing that once a week to all your connections on LinkedIn. Just think what that would mean to you. And then there's a method you can use to actually generate leads from the public post that we're going to go into in a lot more detail. And finally, Drew kind of touched on it, just about the consistency in your profile. So you as the owner, you've got your profile and you do this, and then your consultants are saying something that at times can be contradictory. That at times you've got your old address on there, your old email address, your old telephone number on your LinkedIn profile. You're shooting yourself in the foot when doing that. So the 7 or 8 mistakes that recruitment and search promos are making that's costing you thousands in lost business.
Brilliant. So again, in video 2, you're going to be showing us how to set up your profile to attract clients, which will help us sort of cover some of these mistakes. So,
Absolutely.
make sure you join us for video 2. I will speak with you soon. Until then,
Take care, take action, and be relentless. Cheers, guys.